This is the Ryder and Lisa replay.
Brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free.
You shouldn't be embarrassed about this purchase, but it feels weird to buy it when you do.
Without context, it's strange. But then again, I feel like people that work in a convenience store have seen everything.
That's very true. And for you, it's embarrassing because of the hour that you buy this item. But the convenience store worker doesn't know it's your breakfast. They might think, it's the middle of your day and you work night shift or something.
I purchased a Slurpee at
4 a.m.
And when I walked in, I said, "You're going to judge me. I'm getting a Slurpee, but I have a migraine." And the guy was like, "What?" He took out his earpods.
Oh, no.
Well, he doesn't care.
That's the most embarrassing part, that you were talking to him with his earphones.
He was kind of cute, too.
Really?
So it was this whole thing. Yeah. So I think that made it worse.
Do you think you would have said the same thing to an ugly person working?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
But
thought
I'm
maybe
just saying,
you were like breaking the ice because he was hot.
I didn't see him until he turned around.
Got it.
And then I was like, whoa, who's this hunk? And then I purchased a huge Coca-Cola Slurpee. And I was like, it helps my migraines. And he was like, okay.
Is that your new kink, convenience store employees?
Maybe it is.
Yeah, what an interesting kink.
Well, I haven't been in a convenience store in quite some time.
Right. You
'Cause I usually
send me in to go get you your Slurpee.
Sometimes. Well, if I'm in too much pain, that's for sure. And you've been really great with that. Are you embarrassed when you have to go in and buy for me?
100%.
In the 4 a.m. hour.
It's just a weird time to get a Slurpee.
It's embarrassing. They probably have regulars that come in before I get there and fill up a big gulp of Coca-Cola every day.
Yeah.
7 times a day.
100%. Ryan hit us up and said lube and ketchup are the things he finds embarrassing to buy. I don't know why. But he didn't give any explanation.
He's buying them together. I was at Dollarama the other day and I overheard this guy. I don't want to sound like I'm. No, it's going to come out that way. So
judgmental.
Let's just keep it going. He definitely looked like a serial killer.
Okay.
And I overheard him asking an employee where they keep their balaclavas. And I was like, that guy is doing something sketchy tonight.
And then he was duct tape.
He actually was in the aisle getting heavy duty gloves. And I was like,
When was this?
This was when I was with your daughter in Millwoods Mall. Just a couple days ago. When we went and got frozen yogurt and hit up Dollarama because she wanted something to paint.
Yeah, you might actually have to contact police because they're looking for help with this drive-by shooting. I don't know if the guy was wearing a balaclava in the shooting.
Well, if he was wearing a Dollarama balaclava, which, wow, that sounded great.
Yeah, that's a good band name.
Yeah, it was weird. So what's an embarrassing purchase? You'd think that guy was... That's a nervous question to ask an employee, especially if you're plotting something.
Maybe that's why he seemed sketchy, even if he wasn't plotting something. Like maybe he was just going tobogganing.
That's true. It's like when you go into a store and you leave without purchasing something and you feel like a criminal. Because you're like, there's nothing in my pockets.
Yeah, I came and
Then
went.
it's funny enough, same situation, your daughter's hands were full because she had her froyo in one hand and she wanted to buy some paint. She's like, you put this in your pocket? And she shoved paint in my pocket. I was like, Charlie, there are cameras on us. This is not a good look. Christine wrote in saying, I had to purchase suppositories and an enema on Monday. Self-checkout was closed. See, the self-checkout can save you.
Well, you have another tip that you use if you're going through the checkout line.
The embarrassment sandwich. So if you're buying butt cream.
Good answer.
I mean, you'd have to talk to someone if it was prescription. That's always embarrassing. But they also don't care. They're pharmacists.
Yeah.
They're making bank.
Butt bank.
You do the embarrassment sandwich. So whatever the embarrassing purchase is, you just kind of hide it underneath other things and put something not embarrassing in front and not embarrassing behind.
So you'll go like, a box of Chex with the butt cream and then a bag of all-dressed chips.
What is a box of Chex?
Well, like breakfast cereal.
Oh.
Big things to hide the
Got
little
it. Yes.
embarrassing
And then
thing.
as they're grabbing the embarrassing thing, that's when you ask them how their shift's going.
Awesome.
Yeah, it works.
Good plan.
Buying porn mags back in the day felt odd. I want to know, because I've never seen anyone go in or leave. Do you remember when you would be driving down? It starts off as St. Albert Trail, and then it turns into, I don't know if it's before or after the Groat Road, but there was that adult video store. It had a green logo. What was that store called?
Triple X Vid.
No, I'm pretty sure it was literally just called Adult Video.
Okay, I was pretending I knew.
I just remember as a kid, I always was so intrigued by it. But I never saw any cars in the parking lot. Maybe
That's
they
'cause
parked in the back.
You park in back in that
Park out back.
situation for sure.
And I always, it's the same thing with the massage places that are very secretive and they got the dark blinds. I'm like, how do you, that's got to be an embarrassing walk in or walk out in case someone sees you.
Unless you just pretend you're going in for a massage.
Well, you do go in for a massage, don't you? How does it work? You've been there. Tell us, Ryder.
Yeah. I mean, every time it's different. Just kidding.
I even get a little bit uncomfortable when I'm waiting for my prescription at the drugstore and I realize I'm in the lube and condom aisle. Just waiting. I'm not even actually looking at what I'm looking at. And then I go, oh, and I try and move over to like baby wipes.
As much as I am all about supporting local, genuinely I am. There are some things that are pretty nice that you can buy online now.
Yeah. No, I don't want to support Jeff Bezos. I don't. But sometimes it's just too convenient.
Yeah. This text from Mary made me laugh pretty hard. She said, a selfie stick was the most embarrassing thing I bought. I thought I'd need it for vacation.
I think that it's more embarrassing to use one in public.
Yeah,
I think outside of embarrassing purchases, I do get quite uncomfortable when I have to film videos for a client.
100%.
When I'm in a public space.
Like when we did all those shoots in the mall.
Oh,
it was like a full
terrible
afternoon and everybody's just looking at you like, oh, so they're calling themselves influencers.
Well, and you see it more than ever now, right? Like I remember going to a media night for an opening of a new restaurant and there were people there with like their ring lights at the table, shining them on themselves and their food. Is this real life? I can't do this.
I think the most embarrassing thing I've ever bought, we were doing a contest around here when 50 Shades of Grey was a huge deal. You had to just give us a page number. We'd open it and just start reading live on air. And if it wasn't perverted, you won the prize.
Nobody won any prizes, by the way.
Yeah, it was just perversion every time.
Shelby says a toilet plunger, 100%. One of the most embarrassing things I had to buy.
Well, and that's when you can't really wait for the online order to come in. If you need it, you need it.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Speaking of needing it when you need it, Purple Pants Kyle just wrote in saying, when I have to buy Tamps for the wife, standing in the aisle pretending I know what I'm doing. You know what? From here on out, if you see a dude, help them. If they're there getting something for their wife and it genuinely looks like if they're standing there for longer than 10 seconds, help them.
No, I don't like that at all.
Why?
Because I'd rather take my time and read.
Is that more embarrassing?
Yes. Start asking, what kind of questions would you ask a guy?
No, I would just say, is your wife's flow heavy today?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Nobody wants to.
Just get a Diva Cup. Everybody's using them. It's better for the environment. Stop using tampons. Honestly, it's 2023.
I heard you and Jenna talking yesterday as Jenna took over the morning show with you for International Women's Day.
We had fun.
That you claimed that your jingle for You Ought to Know was the best produced radio jingle of all time. But
yeah,
I'd like to thoroughly disagree with that.
I hate this. Please don't play it.
Things that make you feel old.
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 Like that.
Our harmonies were terrible.
No. They were harmonious.
I even remember hearing our boss being like, I like that. I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
It's so bad, it's good. So we're asking you, what is making you feel old lately?
Jordan just wrote in saying that she saw a video on TikTok, and I think I saw this one too. It was a Gen Z kid saying how it would be really smart to have a singular phone in a home for everyone to use with the same phone number in case of an emergency.
Like a landline.
Like a landline.
Yeah. Wow.
So they've never lived in a house that had one. They thought they invented it. And then Jordan goes on to say, I hope it was satire, but it really didn't seem like it was. And it made me feel old because, of course, I had one of those coiled cord landlines growing up.
I got my daughter to try to make a phone call to her mom or to her grandma from my buddy's cabin, who still had the exact same, the coiled line, and where you have to
twist it.
Yeah. What are those actually called? Isn't there a name for
rotary
them?
phone.
Rotary phone. And she could not figure it out for the life of her. It was really interesting to watch because we're just all so used to them.
But it made you feel old.
Totally.
I think at this point, I have a hair appointment next week that I'm at a point where I'm not going to say, ooh, what's something fun that I can do with my hair this time around? It's like, no, I'm going there to cover my grays.
Really?
I'm doing the gray blend.
Yeah, you can hardly tell they're there.
Ryder.
What?
I know I have space roots right now, which is a term we use around here. That means the roots are so bad that you could see them from space.
I think the thing that's making me feel old lately is when I hear a younger person saying like, "Oh, that's out now." Like whether it's a word or a clothing style or a hairstyle. I don't care, nor do I listen.
I find it interesting that that's your answer and not that really long nose hair that's coming out of your right nostril.
Oh, those are in right now. At least it's not gray.
Hey!
Hit us up if you've got an answer to what's making you feel old lately. This after Jamie Lee Curtis came up with a concept that both of us loved, and then we realized we loved it because we're old.
You too. Do a matinee. What about a 12 noon concert, Coldplay? Bruce Springsteen. Do a fucking matinee. You're old. Why wouldn't you let me come see you, Bruce Springsteen, in your glory days? Pun intended. Do it at noon or 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock matinee, theater in New York. I will come and hear your 5-hour concert, Bruce, at 2 o'clock, and I'm going to be home and in bed by 7:30.
I felt like this when I went and saw the Eagles recently. Vince Gill was on stage with them. So he's a little younger than the rest of the crew up there that are in their 70s. They're 72, 73, 74. The concert didn't start till like 7:30 and they played for 2.5 hours. I'm like, aren't they exhausted?
Yeah, they must have had good naps that day.
Yeah, maybe.
As the one guy in the band said during that concert, which is pretty funny.
It was Joe.
I enjoyed being 20 in the 70s more than I enjoy being 70 in the 20s.
It was a good joke.
That is a great joke.
I'll never forget that line. Jordan says, "Oh, Into Club, that song made me feel old just now." True. I looked up when it came out, 2003, 20 years ago.
20 years
ago. I was
Yeah.
13.
You were only 13 20 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
I was
Did that make you feel old just now?
I was in college hooking up with a chick when I first heard that song in my dorm.
You're such a liar.
Nope, I'm not. Why would I make that up?
I don't know. It just seems strange that the first time you heard that song, you were making out with someone.
Well, you just used to have much music on all the time. So that's what was on the TV. And we were making out in my dorm room.
Are you sure you weren't calling your mommy to help you with your homework? 'Cause that sounds
No,
more accurate.
that would have been before 9 p.m. This was well after.
Sean wrote in to 780-784-7107 saying, "My firstborn just bought his first set of wheels yesterday. I feel old." Yeah, I can't imagine the feeling of your child driving away in their car.
Not ready for that.
Not prepared for that, hey?
780-784-7107.
My 14-year-old son is making me feel really old. Started last summer. We went mountain biking in Valemont. I used to be able to keep up to him or stay ahead of him. Now he's so far ahead of me on the trails. It's one of those things. I'll meet you there. And we
Just turn back around and go to the car.
Yeah. And then we built a home gym in our basement, and he's pushing more weight than I am. So I'm super happy that he can do that, but it's just like, I didn't think it was going to be for a couple more years yet.
Yeah, fair enough. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
That's great. Kristen says, "My 16-year-old has a car and is driving around. I'm not even 40. Like, what is happening?" Well, it's kind of sweet that your kid can drive you places.
Yeah. I never even thought about that. DD.
DD.
Dad's going partying. You're driving me there and picking me up. I don't care what time it is.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Yeah, exactly. I used to get up. Didn't matter what time it was that you decided to take a dump in your diapers. I was getting up to clean them. So now who's got to pick me up? That's great.
And you're now at the age where you're wearing diapers again.
No,
What?
we don't talk like that. It's completely normal for some adults to go through that. I'm not one of them, but I'm not about to shame them like you just did.
Okay, why would you turn on me like that?
why not?
That is not what I meant.
Okay. Feel free to write our boss if you have a complaint about Lisa this
The
morning.
joke was that you're 100 years old.
Oh, now we're
So
making
you
fun
need-
of 100-year-olds.
Oh my gosh.
Feel free to fax your boss your complaints.
Deneen says when my 17-year-old says brah.
Instead of mom. Love that. All right, what's making you feel old?
When you're kneeling on the floor and you stand up and you do the Rice Krispies impersonation, when your bones and knees and legs start going snap, crackle, and pop.
Yes, it's like a bowl of Rice Krispies with milk.
Without the milk.
Yeah, true.
Just punching the Rice Krispies in the bowl.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call.
Jamie says, I've been working from home for 20 years. Just went to work outside of the home a couple months ago again. Much of the staff could be my daughter. Made me feel old. Yeah, when you're working with people that are younger than you, but they're your authority, that would suck.
I don't know if I've ever had to deal with that, but that would be interesting.
But it could happen, you know?
Shut up, youngin'. That's what I'd say when they told me to do something.
And then they'd fire you.
Yeah, probably. Yours involves your daughter saying something to you in the car, Kels.
Mom, what year were you born? And I was like, 1987. And she has this big gasp and goes, what did you wear? And I was like, well, I was a baby, but grew up in the 90s. And I'm like, it's what you see all the kids wearing now, the bad fashion choices of the 90s.
They're back again.
I know, but sadly she thinks 1987 is like the 50s. So I must be like grandma's age now.
You can make it sound even worse by calling it the late 1900s.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you've really aged yourself.
Yeah. Thank you for the call. You could have really messed with her, though, by saying, like, what you wore and even go for, like, an old-timey photo shoot at Fort Kent.
No, you go to West Edmonton Mall. They have that little photo booth where you can dress up really vintage.
Right, exactly. Or Fort Edmonton, I meant to say.
Yeah.
Fort Kent, that's a small town with a strip club in north of Bonneville. Fort Edmonton.
The memories.
Actually. Where, yeah, you could go and get, like, dressed up in, like, late 1800s clothes and just tell her that's what you used to wear. It would mess with your kid for a decade before they'd figure out timing.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's really funny. Sometimes I'm in denial of my age because in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm way too young to ever even think about having a child. But I literally have a hair appointment next week to cover my grays. So what are we doing here?
That's probably a conversation for your therapist.
Well, no, yes.
Okay.
That's also booked next week, right after the hair appointment.
Yeah, perfect.
5 simple words, $1,000. It's Ryder and Lisa's 1K wordplay.
Brought to you by Cal Mustara, your real realtor with Maxwell Progressive.
All right, this is an interesting one we got today. We are joined by 13-year-old Vera, who I believe will be our youngest contestant so far on 1K wordplay. Vera, what's going on today?
Nothing. We're just driving to school with our cousins.
How many kids are in the car right now?
4, including me.
Well, this will be a wild ride if you get it done and win $1,000.
Exciting.
Here's how the game works. You're going to pick a teammate, either Lisa or myself. They will leave the room, and then we're going to give you 5 words. In a 25-second time span, you have to tell us the first word that comes to mind for each of those words, where I'll invite your teammate back in and do the same with them. And for each one that matches, it's $25. If you hit them all, it's $1,000.
Okay, sounds good.
So, Vera, who are you going to team up with? Who do you think you think more alike?
Yeah.
Lisa.
All right, I'm out of here. Best of luck. Let's win some money.
Okay, the timer starts as soon as I give you the first word, okay?
Okay.
The first word is hockey.
Up.
Sad.
Up. Happy.
Sweat.
Workout.
House.
Live.
And birthday.
Party.
All right. Let me get the first word again. What did you say for hockey?
Like a hockey puck?
Oh, puck. Okay, great. All right, Lisa. Come back in. Let's win some money.
How did it go?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's some tricky ones here, though.
Of course. Of course there are.
Okay, what's the first word you think of when I say sweat?
Exercise. Oh, what? Rough start.
Yeah, work out.
That's the same thing.
We can't start doing that.
So we're not winning $1,000, but we can win up to $100 today.
We can.
That was a rough start.
What's the first word that comes to mind when I say birthday?
Party.
Yes. We're on the board.
Yeah. No wall of shame today.
What's the first word that comes to mind when I say hockey?
Oh, well, there's 2 words. There's 2 words that come to my mind. I'm going to go with game.
Puck. I thought she was swearing at me when she answered me.
That's great. My other word I would have said was Oilers.
Yeah.
Which I think maybe a lot of our listeners might have said that as well. Okay, next up, we got $25. Let's make it 50.
What's the first word that comes to mind when I say sad?
Sad, I'm going to go with happy.
Yeah.
All right, okay, we got $50.
We're battling.
Yeah,
and
we are.
What's the first word that comes to mind when I say house?
Family.
No, she went with
Darn.
live.
Well, you picked up $50. That's better than the wall of shame. Congratulations. Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great job.
Next chance to play, your last chance for the week.
Yep.
Is coming up tomorrow morning at 7:50. This story from Tim Hortons Roll Up the Rim to Win, how it's done digitally now, kind of screwed him.
Uh-oh. Was there a malfunction?
Yeah, there was. There was a glitch in the system. This would have never happened if they would have stayed with the OG.
Yeah, the OG, you bite it off. It's full of your spit. You hand it right to the barista behind the window.
Oh,
They
you're making some valid points as to why they got rid of that.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah, that's true. You would use your teeth to roll it up quite often, and then you'd hand it to someone else.
Here, take this. I sucked on it. And give me my free donut.
Okay, so here's the glitch that shook down. Somebody was notified, at least one person. Tim Hortons is not saying how many people this happened to, but it sounds like there's more than one. They were notified that they had won a $10,000 American Express prepaid gift card in the Roll Up the Rim to Win online contest. And it wasn't the case.
So how does that work? They reach out to them personally saying, sorry, that was an error?
Yeah. So the one guy that was interviewed about it said that the next day he hadn't heard anything yet. And he reached out to them a couple times and then still nothing. And then about 48 hours later, he got an email saying hey, sorry. There was a system glitch, and those went out to a bunch of people that didn't actually win. So instead, they're compensating the customers with a $50 Tim Hortons gift card.
Oof.
Which...
Not even 100?
Yeah, even 100, not enough. For a multinational corporation... Tim Hortons should probably just bite the bullet on this glitch, I would think.
No, because how many people did it go out to?
Well, that's the question. If it's less than 10, that's a nothing amount of money to them.
Yeah.
If it's, 10,000 people got it, then yeah, you're talking you wouldn't want to have your restaurant have to close over this.
Right.
But still, it'll be interesting to see. If it happened to 10,000 people, we would have heard a lot more stories, though. I think the number is pretty limited, is just my guess.
I would be bitter for the rest of my life.
Yeah, because this guy was in the interview, he was talking about how him and his wife were discussing what they were going to do with it. Pay off debt, go on a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You're changing somebody's
mental
state.
I guess, yeah, because yeah. And then all of a sudden it's just kidding.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when it's just kidding, it's funny. I did that with the fake lottery tickets to a few of my family members. My brother started crying.
I would never do that because in that moment, imagine somebody scratches a fake lotto ticket. They just win $1 million and they go, you guys have no idea. I'm actually in so much debt. I haven't been telling you guys. I haven't been truthful. What if something like that happened and then you were like, it's a joke.
Yeah, that would be super awkward. I didn't think of that. Yeah, my brother.
Don't do that.
So when I gave my brother, said he won $20,000, he started crying at the dinner table.
You're like, you little baby.
Yeah, it was the
Grow
best. I was pumped about that one. Anyway, what do you think? Should Tim Hortons have to pay the $10,000. Or
And if
like,
not, what should they be giving? Because $50 is not enough.
if I had won that, I would sue either Tim Hortons or the tech company that the glitch, like, I would assume these people don't just take the $50 gift card and smile and go get a bagel.
I feel like suing someone is a lot of work. I think I'd get over it.
You would?
I'd be bitter, but I would get over it.
Just because you're lazy?
Yes. I'm like, do I have to get a lawyer now? That seems like I'd have to pick up the phone and call someone. Ick.
The Ryder and Lisa replay.
Brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free.
Play 107.